So today I will be talking to you about the film Girl on a Train. So I had a chance to read the book by Paula Hawkins, and the book was honestly not that good. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give the book maybe like an 8. I honestly felt like the issues that the main character was dealing with were things that I didn't really struggle with, therefore I couldn't relate to the book. But I try to read nonfiction, I try to read fiction by women and female authors because I think it helps me as a writer with my voice. But honestly, I didn't really like the book that much. I think there were a lot of like loose ends and things that really tie in together, and it was just really confusing for the characters and their motives to do what they did, especially Tom, who ended up being the killer. It just made no sense with his character. So I thought maybe that the film would be a little better, but I don't really like the director Tate Taylor, so I think that's why I felt the way I did. Okay, so now we can talk about the acting. So of course, Emily Blunt killed it as Rachel Watson. I love her British accent in the film. She being the main character really helped carry the film, honestly. Like, I was more interested in her narrative and her story and sort of what propelled her to do what she was doing versus anyone else. In the book, they did mention that the character Rachel was struggling financially and had to borrow money from her mom. I think that really added to how heavily of an alcoholic she was. Whereas in this film, everything seemed sort of rushed as far as the timing. So we didn't really get to see, we weren't really revealed as to how much of an alcoholic she was. It seemed like she had a drinking problem. We didn't know how long it lasted, and it forced her to therapy. We didn't really know why. So of course, books are longer than films, or at least takes us longer to read. So we're able to grow up the character and really experience their struggle and what they're going through. And that's what I really missed in this film. I feel like they just made Rachel a drunk, and that was sort of the end of it. So I didn't really like what they did with that character. But like I said, that Emily Blunt's amazing, so she carried the entire film. I think they could have added more as to how traumatic her life was and how difficult it was. And they also didn't mention that her roommate, Anna, that her roommate wanted to kick her out the entire time. Like, that was a big thing in the book, that she might lose her place and not be able to live there anymore. But in the film, her roommate was totally fine with her being a sloppy drunk, which was not the truth. So yeah, certain things were missing. I think they should have definitely included that. But Emily Blunt did her thing as the character of Rachel, seriously. So next I want to talk about Haley Bennett, who played Megan. She killed it. Megan's supposed to be this mysterious woman that we don't really know. Now, what they did do a good job in the film is giving all of Megan's story. I really like that. They give the background about her losing the baby, and I like the way they showed what happened with the baby falling asleep in the tub. They did a really good job of that. So they did a great job giving the backstory of Megan. It still didn't really explain why Megan decided to do the things she did, but they did sort of express why she wanted to cheat. So I definitely did like the way they portrayed Megan from the book to the film. So thumbs up for that. And Haley Bennett just like killed it for sure. She definitely killed this role. And as far as the role of Anna, like, I just didn't like the character of Anna in the book. And one thing that they took out of the film is that in the book, Anna sort of justifies like Tom beating up Rachel and almost nearly killing her, and then all of a sudden in the film she like then wants to kill Tom, and it makes no sense because she takes the baby upstairs and she's totally okay with Tom like hurting Rachel and almost killing her. So that didn't make sense in the book. So I'm glad they cleared that up in the film. In the film, Anna just sort of disappears when Rachel is being tortured, and we don't know what she's going through, if she's fearful, if she called the cops, or what was going on. So I definitely like the way they made her more decisive, because in the book, Anna seemed a bit indecisive about having a crazy husband, and like she still sort of loved him. So I like that we focus more on Rachel and her character. But yeah, so I definitely think Rebecca Ferguson did a good job playing this role. I didn't like the role, but that's just because I didn't like Anna in the book, so I wouldn't like her in the film. But I do like what they did. They definitely helped me figure out how decisive her character was this time. So as far as the acting goes, I was very, very impressed by everyone. It was just the directing and the editing that did not work for me. Yeah, so thumbs up on the acting, but the directing and the story, not so. Let's talk about directing. So Tate Taylor was the director. He also did Get On Up and The Help. Now, I honestly think it's because he's a white director telling a black story, and typically that doesn't work out well, and I think that's what was wrong with The Help and Get On Up. Also, I just think those films weren't done well. I think The Help was a little better. The narrative just struggled for many reasons, but we're not talking about that film, so I won't do that. But I've seen both of those films by him, and I didn't really like it. But I hope with this book, maybe he would be a little bit better. So I did like some of the camera angles that they used, but I didn't like that in the book it was set in London, but then for whatever reason they decided to make the film set in America. So I don't know if that was Tate Taylor, the director's decision, or if that was someone else's decision, but I really liked that it was set in London before. It kind of took me in a different world, but the story didn't really make sense. It felt like a Lifetime film, honestly. The way he directed it, it looked more artistic than a Lifetime film, but the basic line of it just it didn't make sense. So yeah, as a director, I think that he directed the actors well. I think we got a good performance out of everyone. But as far as just the continuity of everything, it didn't really work out. Now this might be something with editing, but there's a scene where the guy like throws a wine bottle or like a beer bottle at the wall, and it just didn't look right. It looked like the editing was kind of off. Like I could see him throwing it, and then I could see it like crashing seconds later, and there was a little bit of a delay. So that might be directing and editing, I'm not really sure, but yeah, I just feel like overall this film wasn't that good. This film sort of highlighted everything that was wrong with the book. So for example, the red-haired man that was on the train that happened to help her out, it's just like, who is this guy? We never knew who he was in the book, and in the film it just didn't make any sense. So I think as far as the directing goes, that was a big mistake by making it in America versus London. I think, yeah, just it wasn't good. I really wanted to like this film because the book was decent, but sorry, Tate Taylor, you disappoint me again.